Let's see, this update is for the purpose of talking about the materials being used in Cardware. In my build previously, in a previous version of Cardware, and this one here, I used the cardboard from cereal boxes. And as I mentioned in another video, it does work. You get satisfactory results, but it's difficult to work with because it delaminates during the folding process, and you have to spend a lot of time repairing it. The project owner, Professor Jez, pointed out that it's because it's too thick. Besides being low quality, the material is too thick, so it delaminates easily, especially on the glue tabs and the small pieces when they're folded. So before starting on the latest version of Cardware, I set out to obtain better quality cardstock, and it turned out that wasn't so easy. A little bit of background: I live in Thailand, which is a developing country. It's certainly not really poor or particularly remote, especially where I live. I don't live in the capital of Bangkok. I do live in a large town, and so most things are available here. Most things that you would normally think of. There's good internet. There's a pretty reliable postal system, so you can mail order items, some items, and lots of material things, but there are not large shops with school supplies and other stationery items. There are smaller shops, and there's also a supermarket. So my search began for better cardstock at one of the supermarkets nearby, and I found this, which is really a pretty material. Unfortunately it's only 180 GSM weight, and Professor Jez pointed out that's probably not going to work. It's not quite strong enough to be reliable during construction. So I did not proceed with that. What was attractive about it was I could buy a package for 10 sheets of it, and the cost was 45 baht, which is $1.50, less than $1.50 US. So it's certainly reasonable. 10 sheets is enough to build the project. And so I checked one of the school supply stores, and I did find something. Found this cardstock that's, let's see, it's 210 GSM, 210 gram, which is just right. The project owner pointed out that between 200 to 220 is appropriate strength cardstock. Unfortunately, you can only buy an entire ream of it at that shop. They won't sell individual sheets or smaller amounts, and that ream costs 190 baht. 190 Thai baht. I put that in perspective. The minimum wage in Thailand is 300 baht per day. That's a day's pay, 300 baht. So this ream of paper costs more than half a day's pay for a minimum wage earner, and that is going to be a showstopper for, let's say, for a young learner who needs to ask his parents for the money to buy paper. He only needs 10 sheets, but he has to buy 100 for this price. It's even going to give pause to maybe closer to middle income earning Thai parents about having to spend so much on paper, because you still have to have the budget to buy the servos and the Arduino board to complete the project. So that's just highlights an issue that's maybe a challenge in a developing country. I'm sure there are probably many people throughout Thailand and in other developing countries who are going to be in a similar situation where certain materials are either not readily available or prohibitively expensive for them. By comparison, the servo motors were one of the key elements in the project, which are these. Okay. Even here, Because the postal system is fairly reliable, I can order these online from AliExpress. They're about $1.50, maybe less. If you might be able to find them even cheaper. So this $1.50 is about 45 baht, 50 baht. Let's say 50 baht. This is, I can buy 4 servos for what this ring of paper costs, and that's a third of the servos needed in the project. These are not cost prohibitive for someone here. That points out one of the challenges, and actually one of the really attractive things about Cardware is the other materials are being explored now, recyclable materials, things that are can be obtained absolutely free, like plastic water bottles and aluminum cans. So there's the Cardware itself, or the card stock itself, isn't a showstopper if some of those other materials can be utilized. And almost anywhere in the world you could probably find alternatives. So it really highlights the global aspect of Cardware as a robotics learning platform.